Yo, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on, good people? What's the deal? What's the deal? What's the deal? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Happy Wednesday, happy Wellness Wednesday. It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday. Wellness Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. We are still here. We are still here. We are still here. Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to episode 286 of SR Daily. I'm your boy, your host, LaShawn Sugar Ray Marston, and you are tuned in. You are tuned into episode 286 of SR Daily. Uh, Going strong with week 80. No, not week 80, anything. Week 58. Week 58, 58 weeks in. 2 more days to this week is done. A pretty cool show lined up, man. Please do share it. If you are tuned in via Facebook, if you are tuned in via YouTube, please share the show. Please share the show. Share it with 5 to 10 friends who may be interested in tuning in. Right, just hit that share button, and share this live, share the show. Once again, this is SR Daily, episode 286. I'm your boy, your host, LaShawn Sugar Ray Marston, and SR Daily is where personality meets enlightenment. It is going to be a good show. Got a couple of things to talk about, as always. Feeling a little better than yesterday. Right, but not 100%. Nothing wrong physically or anything like that. Just emotionally, all right. Feeling some weight. Feeling some weight, man. Feeling some weight. Thankful for love, though. Grateful for love. Grateful for connection. Grateful for companionship. And all of that good stuff, right? But got a lot of work to do, man. And life is real. Life is real, and the things that we have to do aren't always easy to do. All right. But we got to do them, right? As long as we're alive and we want to make something of ourselves, we got to do the things that we don't always want to do, the things that we don't always feel like doing, right? That is the mark of greatness. That is a mark of discipline. That is a mark of strength, of courage, of resilience, and all of that good stuff. But we are going to get the show started, right? And today we are starting the show with, our first segment today is a phrase of the day. A very simple phrase, 3 words, 3 powerful words, though 3 powerful words that mean so much, right? That means so much to so many. Not everyone, but specific group of people that are connected to other groups of people. These 3 words mean so much. And the phrase for today is free them all. Free them all, free them all, free them all. I gotta shout out my beloved brother Frank Brown, aka Sefu Sankofa, chairperson of the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition. This is the phrase this is the phrase that's used to call for all U.S. held political prisoners to be free. Free them all, free them all, free them all. Just because someone has a political view or ideology that goes against the government, right? Or let me say this, not that goes against anything, but that is for the freedom, justice, and liberation of all oppressed people. Just because someone has those political views or political ideology that includes that incorporates that, they should not become a political prisoner. They should not be targeted. However, we understand that the government doesn't want people to be free. The government doesn't want people to, to think, to use their minds, to be autonomous. All right. And so that's why we have to call free them all, because there's so many brothers and sisters who have been in prison 20, 30, 40, 50 years on trumped up charges, made up charges that are completely false even, right? Simply because they wanted to free or liberate black people. They wanted to free and liberate brown people, right? They wanted to hold the government accountable for taking care of people. And when they weren't taking care of people, they wanted to hold them accountable for violating people's rights, right? Violating people's humanity. You should not be a political prisoner because of that. You should not be incarcerated for freaking any amount of time, let alone decades for that. No, you should not be, right? That is super whack, right? People are incarcerated simply because of their political views, their activism, and their organizing. They are spending 20, 30, 40, 50 years in prison, 50 years in prison. Like, when I think about that, when I hear people who said they spent 47 years, 45 years, 50 years, 44 years in prison. One guy spent 32 years in solitary confinement, 47 years incarcerated, 32 years in solitary confinement. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. And a lot of times, more often than not, it is because of their political views. It is because they stand on the right side of justice. They stand on the right side of freedom. They stand on the right side of liberation, of peace, truth, freedom, love, and all of the good things. But they get caught up, right? Because one thing that I guess rings true throughout time is that people love power and people are not willing to give up their power. People won't give up their power willingly. All right. And so whenever there's a person or a few people or a group of people that strive to take the power from those who are in power and to redistribute it equally, right? Talk about equality and equity. Those who simply want to do that get jailed, right? It was just, and now mind you, not every political prisoner spends that long in prison. I mean, Nelson Mandela spent a long time in prison. Dr. King was a political prisoner. He was in prison for his political views. Yeah, he didn't do freaking 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, not at all. But he was incarcerated for his political views, for his organizing, for his activism. That is a political prisoner. And that's not okay. Like, we got to stand up for that. Like, we can't keep letting our people who want the best for us, right? When I say us, I mean black people, brown people, and all oppressed people, right? All oppressed people, poor people. Dr. King had the Poor People's Campaign, right? Like, there's so much. And he was incarcerated, he was jailed simply because he was active. He was organizing for people's human and civil rights, basic human and civil rights, right? I don't think people should be incarcerated for that. However, we know that you know, how we feel a lot of times doesn't really matter when it comes to the U.S. government, right? What's right doesn't always matter when it comes to the U.S. government, and that's something that we have to understand, right? And that's why we got to keep fighting, keep organizing, keep being active in our communities around these issues, keep, speaking truth, keep sharing what's real, right? All of the good things, man. Keep being fearless, keep being courageous, right? Don't let these people bully you into being afraid. Don't let them bully you into not standing up for yourself. Don't let them bully you into being a pushover, being a punk. Don't let it happen, right? I know it is not always easy to stand up for yourself. It is not always easy to stand up for what is right. But that's, you do the hard thing. And this is why it's important to find community, right? Find other people who feel like you feel, who think like you think, so that when something happens and you want to stand up for yourself, but you're afraid of repercussions or you're afraid of being the only one, you have people that stand with you. No one can stand in for you, right? I mean, not truly. No one can truly stand in for you. We try to, speak up, stand up for our people, but the best person to stand up for you is you. We can stand up beside you, right? But yeah, man, that is the phrase of the day. The phrase of the day is the call of the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition, which is chaired by my dear, dearly beloved brother Frank Brown, aka Sefu Sankofa, and that is free them all, free them all, free them all. That's the call, baby. We're gonna move right along to our second segment of the day. Today's second segment, we got some good news we want to share. As always, get to share good things happening in the world, people doing good things, companies, organizations, or individuals doing good things. And this news today is going out to LA. Guitar Center is replacing instruments lost in LA wildfires. This is indeed good news. Let us read this article. This is from the goodnewsnetwork.org, right? And let's get into it. Let's get into it. While organized sports, celebrities, and businesses have been trying, while organized sports, celebrities, and businesses have been rushing to try and make Los Angeles County whole again after the recent spate of wildfires. Guitar Center is playing its part, offering to replace lost musical instruments. Trying to make a living as a musician is famously challenging, and if one were to lose a $2,000 guitar or a $6,000 piano in the recent blaze, one can only imagine what that might do to them. Through the Guitar Center Music Foundation, the instrument supplier is inviting working musicians to apply for a special one-time grant to replace instruments and gear destroyed by the fires up to $1,500. No cash is handed out, and applications will require information on the kind of equipment that was lost and an approximate value before a replacement can be furnished. Applicants must be from the LA area. Also invited to apply are music programs and institutions. According to NME, what is NME? According to NME, applying institutions must conduct in-school music classes in which the students make music, after-school music programs that are not run by the school, community music programs which offer music instruction to the community, or music therapy programs in which the participants actively make music. This is good. This is good. And there was a post that went up on Instagram. It says, Los Angeles musicians, we're with you and we're here to help. Have you lost instruments? If you've been impacted by this week's fires, please visit our website for information and to request instrument replacement assistance, guitarcenterfoundation.org/fires. Necessary, please share this post with anyone who may need the support. Together we can help restore the music and rebuild the community. This is necessary. This is necessary. This is good. Now valued at over $2 billion, Guitar Center was founded 66 years ago in Hollywood. Its first 8 locations were all located in LA and San Francisco. This is good. This is good stuff, guys. This is what you're supposed to bit my tongue. And this is what you are supposed to do with your money. This is what you're supposed to do with your fame, whether you're an individual, you're an organization, or you are a for-profit company. The best thing to do to show your humanity, right? Again, as I mentioned, is one thing to be blessed, but it's a whole other thing to be a blessing. And once you realize that, once you commit to being a blessing, right? When people around you are struggling and you can do something about it, then do that thing. When people around you are struggling, whether with loss of property, whatever it is, and you can do something about it, please do that thing. Yo, Sefu Sankofa, what's going on, my good brother? Peace and love. I see you just tuning in. I was talking about you and NEPPC, Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition, was the phrase of the day was free them all. I see that you just tuned in, so you missed that. But thanks for tuning in, my brother. I love the work that you are doing. I love you for being you. And let's keep working to free them all. Right. But yeah, that's what you're supposed to be doing with your money, man. Like, valued over $2 billion. Right, like do something, right? And that's something, right? Some people say, well, why they can't replace, every instrument at full price? Because the people lost $6,000 pianos, $10,000 pianos. Like, yeah, the company maybe they could, but they can't. They got stuff to do. So but do something. They're doing something. They're giving up to $1,500 grants, right? Grants of up to $1,500. Guitar Center is providing to folks in Los Angeles who lost their instruments in the LA wildfires recently. That is heartfelt, right? That is dope. What should happen now, right? And this is why I gotta get past all of these things, man, that keep me freaking stuck, right? Because one thing that should happen, right? And I know that there are tons of celebrities that are already, giving. There are tons of people who are already giving, but now every music company, right, instrument company that is making profit, right, that has good profit margin, they should match that. They should match that, right? And it should be like people who have, because $1,500 is great. It's better than nothing. But if you lost a $10,000 piano that you invested in and you're a struggling working artist, $1,500 is not going to get you a new piano. Like, what's that going to do for you? Help you pay some bills, but it's not going to get you an instrument, right? Now they say, well, you got to finish the rest for yourself. But like, if the insurance companies in the city and the state isn't providing, then the people should provide and the companies should provide. And so every music-based company and organization that, again, that's making profit, that has a good profit margin, they should, by case, fully, like come together to ensure that people have the instruments that were lost. Right? If I lost a $10,000 guitar, a $15,000, a $15,000 piano or something like that, and let's say I got $3,000 I can spend on it, they give me $1,500 from guitar set, that's $4,500. I still can't get a new, piano. But then there should be other organizations I can go to, like it should be a network where what's the balance, like what's the item that was lost that's needed to be replaced, what is the total cost, right? What's the value of it? And okay, you go to 3 or 4 different sources to get that, go to 5, 6 different sources to get that, right? Go to one source maybe to get that, right? That's what you do with your money, man. That's what you do with your fame, right? You don't always gotta. That's one thing about having money and being famous, that you don't always gotta use your own money. You could encourage your partners. You can encourage people around you, people who support you, to contribute to the cause that you care about. All right, very simple. Sefu said, "I appreciate the platform. I just received a letter from Ronald Reed, a member of the Black United Front, who wants my assistance. I will speak about him today." Shout out to brother Sefusi and Kofa, who is doing all of the work, man, all of the work to address the issue with political prisoners in this country, as well as around the world. He is, active. He's writing letters to political prisoners. He is visiting political prisoners. He is, getting community members to visit political prisoners and to write political prisoners and things like that. And that's honorable, my brother. So thank you so much for showing up in the way that you do, because there is no one who does this thing right here quite like you do it, my brother. And so I'm grateful for you. I appreciate you. Keep up the great work. Right. With that, we are going to move along to our third segment of the day. Today's third segment, as always, is our tip of the day. And the tip relating to, something I spoke about in the, first segment. But find your community, right? You have a cause, you have a concern, you have an issue that you want to address, you have a hobby, right? You have, something you enjoy doing, whatever it is, whatever spectrum. Find your community, man. Find your community, right? We're in the age of social media where it's not hard to find community. It may be hard to find authenticity because people are trying to be, others, or they're trying to live up to a hype. They're trying to live up to an ideal, right? But find your community, man. Right? You go offline, go to events in your neighborhood, right? See what's going on in your city, right? See what organizations, what communities, what businesses are hosting events, right? And go, show up. Find your community, build your community. Being in community with folks is always a good thing. It is always a good thing to be in community with folks. However, it is even more of a good thing to be in community with folks when many people are concerned about tough times. When anxiety hits, when fear hits, when concern hits, when doubt hits, right? When all of these things hit, it is important to know your community, to have a community that you're a part of, right? Not just where you live, but like to actually be part of a community, a group of people who are meeting, who are talking, however regularly, right? Be a part of that community, especially in tough times. It's important, right? Whether that's, financial tough times, health-wise, right? Things are tough, health-wise, or even political tough times, right? Being in community with like-minded folks is a huge benefit for us, huge benefit for all of us. We are tribal beings. We group up together. We click up together. That is not a bad thing. It is, what are we doing, right? With that grouping up, with that clicking up. Are we wreaking havoc on the neighborhood? No. Are we building community? Are we sharing resources? Are we being a resource to folks? Absolutely. Right. So find your community, my beloveds. Like, seriously, find your community. Build your community. And again, you can, if you start online and continue to build offline, or if you start offline and then build online later, like, you can do both. You don't got to do one or the other. You can do both. Obviously, a lot of people are, using social media to build community and then, bring people together in real life, in real time, right? We just saw last few years the whole big Web3 community grow, NFT community grow, right? There's a health and wellness community. There's community for everything. There's a community for people who read certain books. There's a community for left-handed people. There's a community of people who use certain products, right? Like, there's always community. And so you just got to find your community. And the beautiful thing, as I mentioned recently about America, is that If you don't find a community that you belong to or that you want to be a part of for whatever reason, you can build your own. You can absolutely take the time and effort excuse me, to build your own community. And we all should be building community, right? Because, there's a saying that says, children, it takes a village to raise a child. Yes. And some of us are still going to have children and still having children. However, it don't just take a village to raise a child. It takes a village to nurture an adult. It takes a village to care for an adult. It takes a village to care for you, your community. We all need community, man. Like, regardless of how independent you are, regardless of how much you can do on your own, you need a community. If you want to go further, if you want to go higher, if you want to do more, create more impact, you need a community. So find your community. If your community does not exist, if there is a community that you like, but something's about, you can build your own community, right? Like, you can literally build your own community, right? It is just putting an idea out there, finding one person, finding 3 people, finding 5 people. They got a 5-person community. They got a 10-person community, right? Set regular meetings, right? Set regular, sessions to come together, to build, to talk, to organize, to strategize. Like, okay, as we're coming together, what are we doing with this energy? What are we doing with this coming together? What are we doing with this unity? Are we just uniting just to unite, or are we uniting to really build something strong, powerful, right? But yeah, man, find your community. Super important. So Fu said, community for people who stutter. Use your community centers as an organizing place. Absolutely. You build a community, build a nation. Absolutely. Yeah, it's community for people who stutter, right? It's all type of communities that already exist. And again, if it doesn't exist, you can build it. Or if one exists in a way that, that there's people who may not agree, who may not like certain things in that community, you can build something completely separate. Literally, you can. You don't got to feel bad about it. You don't got to feel bad about stepping on toes. Build what works for you, because chances are, if you have, right, like, for example, I'm a black man, ex-felon, right? Black man, former convict, right? Artist, unemployed, right? Let's say that, I wanted to join a community of, black men, and I joined that community. But then a lot of those black men in the community don't want to be connected to people who are incarcerated. So I said, okay, now I got to build a community of formerly incarcerated black men, right? Now, let's say those formerly incarcerated black men is general, but they want to connect more with the formerly incarcerated black men who are fathers. And I said, okay, let's create a community. Formerly incarcerated black men who are fathers. All right. Now, there's single formerly incarcerated black men who are fathers, and there's married formerly incarcerated black men who are fathers. So you see how this thing goes? You see, like, easily you can build community just like that. That's how you build community. It's very simple. Build around you, around your interests, right? It don't have to be your identifying thing, right? Like mine is black man, father, divorced, formerly incarcerated, artist, unemployed. It doesn't have to be that. It could be a community for people who like red shirts. You like a red shirt, so it don't have anything to do with race, anything to do with parenthood, anything to do with anything. But that's how deep you can get. You can start with one thing, right? Community for people whose favorite color is blue. And then from there, okay, favorite color is blue, who's a man, who's a woman, who is a parent, who has children under 18, who live in New York, right? Like, more niche, right? But yeah, like, build that community, right? That is today's tip of the day. Find your community, build your community. And with that, we're going to move right along to our fourth and final segment before we get out of here. Today's fourth segment, our build of the day, is you got to let people live their life how they see fit. You have to. As much as, we have opinions on how our parents live, how our children live, how our siblings live, how our nieces and nephews live, as much opinions as we have, you gotta let people live life, right? You don't, because we don't have foresight into other people's destiny. We can see what can happen if they go this route, right? We see the pitfall, but we don't have an insight into their destiny. Because we don't have an insight into their destiny, we have to let them be, right? Now, there is a fine line between altering someone's destiny, right, and intervening in their downfall. Intervening in their downfall. Spirit calls, you go see somebody down. Hey, listen, brother, listen, sister, let's do boom, 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 boom. Cool. However, if they keep there may be something in that struggle, in that challenge, in those tough times, right? Tough environment that they may need to experience, go through, learn from, so that they then can take it to the next stage of their life, right? So you gotta let people be who they are, right? And that's one thing I am grateful for. Like I promise you, again, I've always been the same person, this big ambitious person. But if my mother would have sent me to a boarding school when I was getting in trouble at 13, 14, 15, right? I kicked out of high school at 15. If she would have sent me to a boarding school at that time, I would not be who I am today, because I wouldn't, certain things I would not have experienced growing up in my neighborhood. I probably would never have went to jail. I probably never would have been shot. Probably never would have got that deep into the streets, right? But she let me live my life, right? Like to her own pain, to her own pain points, right? Like she was angry and sad and upset that certain things that I was doing and involved in, right? And like I understand, but she let me continue to live my life, right? She didn't. She might put me out the crib, but she didn't send me to boarding school, right? When I was, the age that she could have sent me to boarding school, she let me end up getting kicked out of high school, go get my GED. Took a whole year before I started college. Got arrested like 5-6 times that year, if not more. Right? End up freaking catching this crazy case, getting probation, 2 crazy cases, getting probation and community service and all type of things, right? However, I became who I am today because of that. Not in spite of, but because of. It's not in spite of my challenge that I sit how I sit today, doing the things that I'm able to do with the accomplishments that I've had. Right? It's not in spite of. It's because of. It's because of those challenges. It's because of those hard times. It's because of. Right? So yeah, man, let people live their life, right? Understand that detachment is key, right? Detachment is true compassion for self and others. And this is wisdom we must remember. This is from Taoism, right? We don't deal with right or wrong. We don't deal with good and bad. We deal with like, is this what you want for yourself? Understand that you are causing pain and discomfort for others, and like the energy is going to come back. Do you care about others? Do you not care about others? Do you care about yourself? Do you not care about yourself or your family, and how these actions that you may be putting out that may be harmful is going to come back to you? You may not care, and that's pretty freaking fine. Right? It's not okay, but it is what it is. Right? But detachment, man, like detach yourself from thinking you know what's best for somebody else. You don't know. You know what you see, what you think, right? What you feel, not always accurate. And even if it is, people got to go through what they got to go through to get where they trying to get, right? So like you got to go through the pain. You got to go through the storm. You want to be great. You want to be successful. You got to go through it. You have to, right? It's a non-negotiable, right? You've been hearing these things lately about non-negotiables in relationship. That's a non-negotiable, right? That's a non-negotiable, man. So just truly like let people live, let people be free, give guidance, right? Give nuggets, give some wisdoms, right? Drop some wisdoms when you see them, when you interact with them. But like, right, try to pull them into certain projects that you know they may be interested in. Like if I know that there's a young person interested in filmmaking, right? Then when I'm making a film, I may bring a young person on set. I may ask them to be a writer, be a assistant director, assistant producer, like get involved, right? Get involved, bring them involved. But if they say no and they don't want to be involved, they don't want to participate in what you're building and what you're doing, then fine, let them live their life, right? Like let people live their life. You are not unfortunately, we are not all seeing what we can see, far. We can't even see far into our own lives. We see what we plan, we see what we hope for, but we don't know the roadblocks that's gonna happen. I had no idea I would fracture my ankle. I had no freaking idea I would experience what I've been experiencing with my children. I had no. You can't predict that. You can't, right? You can't. So if you can't see far into your own life, what makes you think you can see far into the lives of others? You can't. So humble yourself, right? Share wisdom, share love, share knowledge, share understanding. But let people do what they're gonna do, man. As hurtful as it is, it's gonna be okay. All right. And with that, guys, that is our show. for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Once again, I'm your boy, your host, LaShawn Sugar Ray Marston. You are tuned into SR Daily, episode 286, of SR Daily, right here from the home studio, right here on Facebook Live, and on YouTube Live. Once again, be sure to share this video. You catch the replay, share it with 5 to 10 people who may be interested in tuning in. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'm your boy, your host, LaShawn Sugar Marston. We got 2 more episodes this week. This is episode 286. We got tomorrow 287, Friday 288, and then the week is a wrap. Week 58 is slowly coming to a close. 2 more episodes this week, and we wrap it up. And it's all good. But please do join us right back here tomorrow. Same time, same place, 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, SR Daily, with personality meets enlightenment. And remember, it ain't getting knocked down. That's the problem. It's staying down. So get up. The power is in you. As always, be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. Peace and love.